Hello everyone, this is Poke Viking with a W coming to you with everything Pokemon investing in Europe. Another week has passed, week 21 of year 2025, and we are looking at the card market prices for sealed products for our main sets and their main products overall. I need to apologize beforehand. I've been a little bit sick lately, and the upload speed of my videos and even like the production and everything has come to a halt. I need to take care of some issues. So for the time being, I'll be doing these weekly updates at least so that we can see the progress on the supply and prices of the current Pokemon market. So without further ado, I will jump right into it. So starting off first with the supply and then looking at the prices, how they reflect. So we will be looking at the biggest movers in terms of supply, marking them, and then looking at them from a price perspective where we see the biggest gains and the biggest buying opportunities for this week. Apologies. So Chaos Rising. We see that there has been a drastic supply increase. I think this is perfectly normal because Chaos Rising was released on the 22nd, and now we see that the supply has increased. Let's look at how the price reflected that. I'm gonna take a much better look at this. Perfect Order was stagnant. I think this is due to the fact that Chaos Rising came out. Ascended Heroes, it seems like there's been a supply increase. I'm not sure if it's a restock, not sure what's going on there, but it's kind of significant, so we'll see how the price reflects that. Maybe a buying opportunity there. Phantasmal Flames, nothing much happening there. Mega Evolutions, kind of stagnant for the time being. Scarlet and Violet, White Flare, kind of decreasing week by week. Let's see how the price is reflecting that after these couple of weeks. Same thing going on for Black Bull. So the supplies are kind of dwindling on these products. I think they started to kick off, and probably the buying opportunity may not even be there anymore, but we'll see what's happening in terms of price there. Destined Rivals, a little bit of an increase, so I think people are trying to sell this product in Europe. With the price that I remember, it doesn't make really much sense why they would try to get rid of this product. So maybe a buying opportunity there. Let's have a look. Journey Together, nothing much happening there. Prismatic Evolutions. This is what we talked about last week. Like there was this huge supply increase. I think we can call this a restock. And many people took advantage of this. So let's look at the price, what happens there as well. Surging Sparks, a drastic buyout is happening there between the weeks. Let's look at that one as well. So starting off, it looks like a couple of opportunities or maybe even like good selling points that are trying to emerge here. Stellar Crown, nothing much happening there. Shrouded Fable, kind of drastic decrease, but this one I'm not gonna mark, and a little bit of a foreshadowing. I already looked at the price, not much is happening there, even though the buyout between the weeks is kind of significant and it's even steady across the weeks. But I know and I can remember that I was really intrigued, like Shrouded Fable being the underdog, how it's reflected, but I know it's not that much, so not even gonna let me mark it and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about, just so that I don't forget. Twilight Masquerade, steady decrease going on there still. Temporal Forces, some people are trying to sell it, I assume. Paldean Fates, not much happening there in terms of supply. Paradox Rift, steadily decreasing, but very, very slowly. 151. People are, I think, trying to get some profit going. The supply has increased in this case. Obsidian Flames, steadily decreasing. Paldea Evolved, steadily decreasing still. Scarlet and Violet Base, when we look at the previous weeks, 100 supply was gone from the base set. Between the weeks, it's steadily decreasing. I don't think the price will be reflected that much. Crown Zenith, steadily decreasing. Silver Tempest. So there also it's steadily decreasing in terms of supply. Lost Origin, very slow, even a little bit of a supply increase there. Pokemon Go, Not much happening there. Astral Radiance, steadily decreasing. Brilliant Stars, steadily decreasing. And yeah, I clicked the wrong row. So Astral Radiance and Brilliant Stars are steadily decreasing, even though at this time and point, like a decrease of 20 boxes between the week. Let's have a look at what Brilliant Stars is doing. This might kind of reflect the price a little bit. Fusion Strike. This one is very interesting. Although it was stagnant, a huge buyout happened. Let's look at the price there. Celebrations steadily decreasing. I assume once celebrations, the 30th anniversary comes around, then this will drop drastically, but for the time being, nothing's happening there. Evolving Skies. For the price point that Evolving Skies is at, this is for me kind of a drastic decrease in terms of supply, so let's look at that as well. Chilling Rain, increase in supply, not many people liking this set, I assume. Battle Styles, not moving that much. Shining Fates, increased a little bit. Vivid Voltage, nothing happening there. Champion's Pad also increased in supply. Darkness Ablaze, stagnant. Rebel Clash, stagnant. And Sword and Shield Base, nothing happening much there. So, Sun and Moon Cosmic Eclipse, a little bit of a jump of 3 boxes. We can have a look what's happening there. Hidden Fates, 10 boxes, kind of good. We'll see what is happening there, but I'm not going to mark it. I don't think that's something significant in terms of price. Unified Minds, 1 box there. Unbroken Bonds, nothing much happening there. Team Up, nothing much. People trying to take profit there. I assume Lost Thunder, 2 boxes decrease. Dragon Majesty, 2 boxes decrease. Celestial Storm, people trying to take profit, assuming. Forbidden Light, nothing much happening there. Ultra Prison, nothing much. Crimson Invasion, stagnant. Shining Legends, increase. Burning Shadows, a little bit of a decrease in supply. Guardians Rising, nothing much. And Sun and Moon, base, decrease by 5 boxes, which is quite a lot at this supply point. Okay, so we see that if I compare to the previous week was not that actionable and price packed or supply packed in terms of movement. So we'll see. I'm going to mark these first. Let's take it. Do I have it exactly the same? I do. So what I can do very quickly is I'm going to take, I guess, this whole stack and just copy it. Hopefully that will get me the result I'm looking for, so I don't have to do it all at once. Yep, that did the trick. Okay, so prices. Let's look at the best movers that we marked. So Chaos Rising, we saw that it was released, so a drastic increase. How did the price reflect it? Not much. So only a €5 decrease in terms of pricing since the supply has increased. So simple economics, but even due to this fact, it seems like it's not that big of a deal. Like it decreased, maybe a good buying opportunity since this is the beginning of the set. So the buying opportunity I'm going to mark as green. Perfect order. Ink. No, that's not any. I thought it was 159. So the price is stagnant. Ascended Heroes, similar thing. Increase in supply. Also, only decreased by €5. What I'm thinking here is that since Ascended Heroes is a very hyped set, I'm only looking at the data and not from a biased perspective. I'm thinking that this might be like a last opportunity to buy Ascended Heroes at this price since the supply came just now. It can be that we won't have a supply for the next couple of months. So gobbling up a little bit of Ascended Heroes probably makes sense with the market. So White Flare and Black Bolt, as we can see, so since the supply decreased, we see that the prices are not moving that much, which is kind of strange. So overall, you still have time to buy Black Bolt and White Flare, but make sure to do so as soon as possible because from my perspective, these ETBs are moving really fast. So I'm going to mark this as a buying opportunity still. Destined Rivals, huge buying opportunity in my opinion. If you are a buyer that has a budget for these higher price points, personally, I'm not a fan of these price points anymore. But if you still have the budget to buy Destined Rivals, since there was this huge, not huge, but it was supply, I think it was a decrease or increase. Let's have a look. Yeah, increase. It wasn't that significant, but actually the price was hit fairly strongly here, so you have a good entry for your money if you want to invest in Destined Rivals booster boxes, I would assume. So go for it. Journey Together, the price is stagnant. Prismatic Evolutions. We saw with Prismatic that there was this dip of 300 boxes, but as you can see, the price hasn't moved that much. So I personally am not a fan of buying at this price point anymore, so I'm not going to mark it. But if you are, feel free to do so. Still time to buy Prismatic Evolutions in that case. Surging Sparks, not much of a movement there in terms of the price. It's going up very steadily. I'm expecting it to blow up at some point because it's a no-brainer that it's just climbing that slowly, but we'll see. Stellar Crown, steady increase in price. Shrouded Fable. This is what I was foreshadowing. So, as you can see, the price isn't doing that much. Like, this is really not a set that people like. So, really a bad investment in this case. Twilight Masquerade, decrease in price. Probably, if you're interested, maybe a good time to buy. Temporal Forces, not much happening in terms of price. Paldean Fates, steadily but growing, so it's a good product, I would assume. So the gains per week are massive if you consider it percentage-wise. So probably a good thing to start still somehow gobbling that set up, but not for my taste. Paradox Rift, as normal, nothing's happening there. 151, since there was this, what was it? The supply increased and the price decreased by quite a lot. So I guess people are trying to take profit here. Obsidian Flames, price decreased. Palia evolved, still the same price. Carlin and Violet base, nothing much happening there. Crown Zenith, nothing much happening there. Silver Tempest, nothing. Lost Origin, nothing. Pokemon Go, decrease in price. Astral Radiance, nothing. Brilliant Stars, I think it kind of surpassed the all-time high from previous weeks. So 500 euros at this point in time probably would be the winner of the week. We'll see what still happens. I'm going to mark this as very light, or well, let me mark it as yellow. I think this makes sense that if you had like a good entry point for Brilliant Stars, and this is the current price point, probably it's taking off, and also it might still increase in the upcoming weeks. So something to look after, just so that you're tracking the movement of the price. I'm going to be tracking this, and you will see that after a week and even in the upcoming weeks. So probably Brilliant Stars is the one set that's taking off. Fusion Strike, nothing happening there between the weeks, so it's still at like an all-time high, I would assume. Celebrations increased steadily. Now, Evolving Skies, I think, is the big winner here between the weeks. So we saw throughout the previous weeks that there was this really huge decrease of 400 euros, but now it's up to par with that price almost. So I'm going to mark it as a winner. So probably Brilliant Stars and Evolving Skies are gaining like the traction they were waiting for at this point, and we'll see how far they can get. Chilling Rain, decrease in price. Battle Styles, not much happening there. Shining Face, nothing. Vivid Voltage, nothing. Champion's Path, nothing. Darkness Ablaze, decrease. Rebel Clash, nothing. Sword and Shield, nothing. Okay, so those blocks are done. Cosmic Eclipse. So we saw that the supply decreased, and this is a little bit of an interesting situation. Like the supply decreased by 3 boxes, but the current lowest English price is is smaller for whatever reason. So 3,000 euros. It doesn't make sense. Let's mark it as red. So there are losers in this week for whatever reason. Hidden Fates, nothing much happening there. Unified Minds, steadily increasing. Unbroken Bonds, not much happening there. Team Up, still at the same point. Lost Thunder, somewhat similar-ish on the all-time high, I would assume. Dragon Majesty, this one I'm not counting towards anything because the supply of Dragon Majesty is like 1 or 2 boxes, and every time someone's trying to take a quick profit, they're setting it at these price points, and there's this still one box that costs 2,000 euros, so it's like a leftover box. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. This is not very like informational value, but it's more or less like what is happening and where we are at on card market. Celestial Storm, a little bit of a decrease. Forbidden Light, also a decrease. But if we look at it from a time perspective, hold on, let's go a little bit backwards. So if we look at week 17 and now, this looks like a crash of those boxes. Like someone is either trying to take profit or undercut each other, similar to Celestial Storm, because these price points and these decreases. No, it was not Celestial Storm, or was it? Apologies, I may have mistaken it. I'm looking at it from a little bit of afar. So let's look at Forbidden Light. So this is a huge decrease, right? So probably a good buying opportunity if you have budget. Let me mark that because we already know that this was the price point. So the opportunity cost for you to gain like 500 euros almost instantly if you find the right buyers, or if you buy at this price, probably with the supply that Forbidden Light has. Forbidden Light is at 22 boxes. I would expect that the 500 bucks is like a quick turnaround at some point, but we'll see. Let's mark this as a potential good entry opportunity. Ultra Prism, nothing much happening there. Crimson Invasion, nothing much. Shining Legends, still at a good price point. Burning Shadows, nothing much. It's still decreasing by quite an amount since this is a weaker set. Guardians Rising, a little bit of a decrease, maybe just a bump, and it will increase in the upcoming weeks. Sun and Moon we marked as an interesting contender, so the decrease was like 5 boxes, but the price hasn't moved almost at all. So let's sum it up. So the winners of this week in terms of investment seem to be Brilliant Stars and Evolving Skies in my mind. The biggest loser is Cosmic Eclipse, but probably a good buying opportunity similar to what was it? The Forbidden Light. So I'm not sure if I should mark this as red, if it's a good potential buying opportunity. I think this makes more sense not to have it as red, but if you have these kinds of budgets and you see these price points, if you want to make quite a lot of money, not sure if in the short term, so there's like a 1,300 euros difference. If we are still in the bull market, then it's a potential buy. But if we are transitioning for whatever reason to a bear market, then it's a risk, right? So it's really up to you to decide. If I had the budget, personally, I wouldn't buy these because the entry points that are in the lower segments, if you have the time, if you're investing, don't aren't that justifiable from my point of view at least. Good. So potential buying opportunities. Let's consider it a potential buying opportunity since we are in the bull market. So Forbidden Light, Cosmic Eclipse, Black Bolt, White Flare, Ascended Heroes, Chaos Rising, and the biggest one, Destined Rivals. Biggest winners are Brilliant Stars and Evolving Skies. So another one in the books for the week. We have everything that we needed to cover. Feel free to browse the video for the numbers and stop it wherever you feel like looking at and potentially gaining some additional information for your sake. From my end, this has been everything. This was Poke Viking with a W, and I will catch you next time.